Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Podlume. I'm Liana, and I'm really happy that you're here with me today. Maybe you're listening while having your morning coffee. Maybe you're walking. Maybe you're traveling. Or maybe you're simply sitting somewhere quietly. Whatever you're doing right now, just take a moment for yourself. Because today's conversation is something I think almost all of us need. We're going to talk about letting go, the art of letting go, and finding peace within yourself. Have you ever had something in your life that you just couldn't let go of? Maybe it was a person. Maybe it was a relationship. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe it was something someone said to you years ago. You know what's strange? Sometimes something happens and the event lasts only a few minutes, but the memory stays with us for years. Someone says something hurtful. Someone leaves. A relationship ends. A dream doesn't come true. And even after life moves forward, our mind keeps going backward. We keep thinking, what if I had done something differently? What if I had stayed? What if I had said something? Why did this happen? And we keep asking these questions, hoping that somehow the past will give us a different answer. But it won't, because the past has already happened. And that's one of the hardest things to accept. I remember a simple example that really helped me understand this. Imagine you're holding a heavy bag. Inside the bag, you have stones. One stone represents regret, another represents anger, another represents an old relationship, another represents fear, and another represents something you wish you could change. You carry this bag every day. At first, it's okay. You can handle it. But after some time, your shoulders start hurting. You're tired. You feel exhausted. And then someone tells you, why don't you put the bag down? And you say, I can't. But the truth is, you can. You just don't know how to let go. And I think many of us are doing exactly that. We're carrying emotional bags filled with things that happened years ago. And we've become so used to carrying them that we don't even realize how heavy they are. But here's something important. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. This is something I really want you to understand. If someone hurt you, letting go doesn't mean saying, it was okay. If you lost someone, letting go doesn't mean, I don't care anymore. If you made a mistake, letting go doesn't mean, it didn't matter. It simply means, I accept that it happened, I learned from it, and I don't want it to control my future anymore. That's a very different thing. Sometimes we think holding on makes us strong. We think, if I keep thinking about what happened, I'll understand it someday. But sometimes, thinking about something again and again doesn't give us understanding. It only gives us exhaustion. Have you ever replayed the same conversation in your head? You imagine what you should have said. You imagine what they should have said. You imagine a different ending. And suddenly, 10 minutes have passed, maybe an hour, and you're still having a conversation that isn't even happening anymore. That's the problem with living in the past. Your body is in the present, but your mind is somewhere else. And then there is regret. I think regret is one of the hardest things to carry. We look at our past with the knowledge we have today, and we say, I should have known better. But think about that. You didn't know better. That's why you made that choice. You were a different person then. You had different experiences, different knowledge, different emotions. You cannot judge your past self using today's wisdom. You have learned since then. And that's what matters. Maybe your mistake was actually part of your education. Maybe that difficult relationship taught you what you deserve. Maybe that failure taught you something success never could. Maybe that painful chapter made you stronger. And sometimes we need to forgive someone. But sometimes the person we need to forgive is ourselves. Maybe you still blame yourself for something. Maybe you think, I wasted so much time. I trusted the wrong person. I made the wrong decision. I wasn't good enough. But listen, you were doing the best you could with what you knew at that time. You don't have to punish yourself forever for making a mistake. You can learn from it and still love yourself. That's called growth. Now, I'm not going to tell you, just forget the past. Because real healing doesn't work like that. Instead, start small. The next time an old memory comes back, don't fight it. Don't say, why am I thinking about this again? Just notice it. Say to yourself, yes, this happened. It hurt me. But I'm safe now. And I don't have to live there anymore. Then take a breath and bring your attention back to today. Back to where you are. Back to your life. Because today is the only place where you can actually make a difference. Another important part of letting go is accepting that some things will never have an explanation. Sometimes we want closure from another person. We want them to apologize. We want them to explain. We want them to understand how much they hurt us. But sometimes that conversation never happens. And if your peace depends on someone else giving you closure, you may wait forever. Sometimes you have to give yourself closure. You have to say, I may never understand why this happened, but I understand that I deserve to move forward. That's enough. And you know what? Making space for the future is also part of letting go. Imagine your heart is a room. If every corner is filled with old memories, where will you put something new? Where will you put new friendships, new experiences, new dreams, new happiness? Sometimes we keep asking life for something new while holding on tightly to the old. Maybe it's time to create some space, not because the past wasn't important, but because your future is important too. I want you to try something tonight. Before you sleep, sit quietly for a few minutes. Think about one thing you've been carrying for too long. Maybe it's anger. Maybe it's regret. Maybe it's fear. Maybe it's a person. And ask yourself, is this helping me or is this hurting me? If it's hurting you, you don't have to solve everything tonight. Just tell yourself, I'm ready to start letting this go. That's enough for today. Tomorrow, you can take another small step. Healing doesn't happen all at once. It happens slowly, quietly, one day at a time. And remember, letting go doesn't make you weak. It takes strength to release something you once desperately wanted to hold on to. It takes courage to say, this chapter mattered, but it is over. It takes courage to walk away without knowing exactly what comes next. But sometimes the unknown is where your freedom begins. So, if you're listening to me right now and you're carrying something heavy, I want you to know you don't have to carry it forever. You are allowed to move forward. You are allowed to be happy again. You're allowed to start over. You're allowed to forgive yourself. And you are allowed to choose peace. Take a deep breath with me. Slowly. Breathe in and breathe out. Again. Breathe in and let it go. Imagine you're releasing one thing that you've been holding for too long. You don't have to know exactly how tomorrow will look. You only need to take the next step. And maybe that's what letting go really means. It doesn't mean forgetting where you've been. It means finally allowing yourself to see where you're going. Thank you so much for spending these minutes with me. I hope today's conversation gave you even a little peace. And if you're learning English with us, remember, you don't need to understand every single word immediately. Listen again. Repeat the sentences. Speak along with me. And slowly, your confidence will grow. This is Podlume, and I'm Liana. If you enjoyed today's conversation, don't forget to like this episode. Subscribe to Podlume and join me again for another simple, calm, and meaningful English conversation. Until then, take care of yourself. Be patient with yourself. And remember, you don't have to carry yesterday into tomorrow. Sometimes, the most beautiful beginning starts with one simple decision to let go. I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.